While the gunman was inside Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School killing people at random, a trained Broward County Sheriff's deputy did nothing.
Devastated, sick to my stomach. There are no words.
The Broward County Sheriff revealing the stunning news that one deputy, Scott Peterson, who was armed and in uniform, clearly knew there was an active shooter, but stayed in his position outside Building 12. The sheriff says video shows the deputy doing nothing for more than 4 minutes while the bullets flew inside. The shooting lasted about 6 minutes. Deputy Peterson has since resigned. When reporters asked what he should have done,
went in, addressed the killer, killed the killer.
And new information tonight that Peterson wasn't the only sheriff's deputy who failed to act. Now, Coral Springs police sources tell CNN that 3 other Broward County sheriff's deputies also remained outside, pistols drawn but hiding behind their vehicles. It's unclear if the shooter was still there when they arrived, but not one of them had gone into the school. It was the Coral Springs officers who were the first to go in. Meanwhile, during the shooting, another key misstep. Turns out the surveillance video security teams were watching in hopes of locating the 19-year-old gunman in the school had been rewound. The 20-minute video delay led authorities to believe the gunman was still in the building, when in reality, he was long gone.
The delay never put us in a situation where any kid's lives were in danger.
Long before the shooting, there were warning signs that went nowhere. Even the FBI missed a major red flag. CNN has reviewed a transcript from a January 5th call this year. A tipster close to the Parkland shooter warning the FBI that the teen was, quote, going to explode. The female tipster spoke of his social media posts about guns and his violence in school, saying she feared him getting into a school and just shooting the place up. The FBI has admitted that proper protocols weren't followed on a key tip about the suspect just weeks before the attack.
There was a mistake made. We know that. But it is our job to make sure that we do everything in our power to ensure that does not happen again.
Also, the Broward County Sheriff now revealing their office had received 18 calls related to the suspect over the past decade. In a 2016 call, officers got a tip that he planned to shoot up an unknown school. Police records show the responding deputy passed the information on to a school resource officer. In another call last November, police records show a caller warned the teen was collecting guns, suggesting he could be a school shooter in the making. Officers simply referred it to the Palm Beach Sheriff's Department for review. Also last year, a family in Palm Beach County alerted police that the suspect had put a gun up to someone's head. The suspect himself called 911 about the incident.
I kind of got mad and I started punching walls and stuff, and then a kid came at me and threw me on the ground.
Police responded and were told at the scene it had all been worked out.
Randy Kay joins me now from Parkland, Florida. Randy, these new details are so disturbing, and it's not the end of it. What have you learned about social services looking into this suspect years ago?
John, we've learned that the Department of Children and Families here in Florida took a closer look at the suspect back in 2016. It was right after he and his girlfriend had broken up. And what they found was that he was cutting his arms by himself. He was putting Nazi symbols on his backpack, and he had plans to purchase a gun. Yet, despite all of this, they considered that he was a very low risk, despite all of those findings. And that was because he was living with his mother, he was going to school, he was getting treatment for his mental health issues, apparently, so they considered him a very low risk. Meanwhile, John, just months after that DCF report was closed is when this suspect went out and bought this AR-15 style rifle that police say he used in this school massacre. So clearly, John, he was not a very low risk.
Randy Kay in Parkland, Florida. Randy, thanks so much. Joining us now, CNN law enforcement analyst, former Philadelphia Police Commissioner Charles Ramby. Chief, thanks so much for being with us. This new information that these Broward County sheriffs, 3 in addition to the school resource officer, were outside the school, hadn't gone in. Does it make any sense to you?
Nope, it makes no sense at all. I mean, you can't just wait outside. We learned that lesson after Columbine. Now, the first officer on the scene, the school resource officer, he definitely should have gone in. There's no excuse for him not having gone in. And if what is being said is true about the other three, there's no way they shouldn't have gone in. You have to go in and neutralize the threat as soon as possible. And even if you don't hear shots, you still don't know if the person is still in there. You have to clear the building. So you have to go in. There's just no other way to do it.
And that's the key point there. You know, we don't know for sure whether these three arrived before or after the shooter had left. But even so, to still be outside when there could be wounded people who need treating, when the building does need to be cleared, it's still a problem, correct?
Yeah, it is. And plus, you don't know if he's left the scene. We know now because we have a lot more information. But at the time, you don't know that. You have to clear the building, period. You have to tend to the wounded. You have to do all these things. You can't do it hiding behind your car.
And you brought up one of the key issues here, which is the protocol. After Columbine, the protocol changed. Before that, it was secure the perimeter and wait. But now police are trained differently. Explain.
Well, they're trained differently because we learned that, you know, while we're waiting for SWAT, and God bless SWAT, they're very good at what they do, but it takes time for them to get there. In the meantime, these things are over fairly quickly. So we have to train our officers, and many departments have, I believe most departments have, active shooter training where they're trained how to go in and be able to clear the building, neutralize the threat, save as many people as you possibly can. I know the departments that I've worked in, that's ongoing training on a regular basis that takes place.
Every department we've talked to says this is now the protocol. The training, the protocol now is to go in. That is what you are trained to do. That's why it's so troubling that it didn't appear to happen here. Now, whether on the local level or federal level, so many mistakes here. Chief, you look at this, and it seemed that everyone was saying this guy could turn out to be a school shooter. The guy who everyone warned was going to be a school shooter ended up shooting up a school.
Yeah. Well, you know, clearly the FBI dropped the ball with the tip line and the information that they received. There's absolutely no reason why that information was not sent out to the field office for follow-up. The local authorities weren't noted. Something should have been done. That has to be explored to find out exactly what happened, why it happened, and make sure it never happens again. I mean, there should be supervisory oversight to make sure that these tips are being handled properly. That didn't happen. Clearly, there's other people that, again, the warning signs were there, and they just failed to act. It's a tragedy all the way around.
Commissioner Ramsey, thanks so much for being with us. Appreciate it.